Hi, in this lesson, we will learn procedures in SQL. Let's see what are procedures in SQL. A SQL procedure or stored procedure is a set of statements that can be saved and reused by just calling its name. So, a procedure can also be called as a stored procedure. So, a procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can save, okay, so the code can be reused over and over again. If you have a SQL query that you write over and over again, save it as a procedure and then just call by the procedure name in order to execute it. Procedures in SQL are very useful construct which helps performing repetitive or administrative tasks. So benefits of using procedures are, first and foremost, it is less competitive with more transparency, and it has faster performance. That means once stored, they are compiled and stored in database. Now, let's try to understand it by example. So here, problem statement is the search engine company wants to run a task to generate the report regarding total engagement by each language on daily basis. So please create a stored procedure for the same. So what problem says is we have two tables, user and user activity. So user table gives us the information about the user and user activity table gives the information about the user's activity. For example, user ID 1. His language, user language will be US. So user country will be USA and user city will be from Seattle. Now when we see his activity, so for user ID 1, his query ID, so this is a search engine company. So when he searches a query, we have a ID for each query. So his query ID will be 1345667 and what query he searched and how many pages were showed to him and which page he clicked and what was his engagement. So user ID searched twice. So first engagement was 2 and second engagement was 0.09. So here what are they asking? They are asking, they want total engagement for each language. Like for US, we have engagement of 2 and 0.09. So total will be 2.09 for US user language. So for UK user language, we have only one engagement. So the value will be, total engagement value will be 1. So for user language IN, India, it will be, user engagement will be 7. So let's check the output. So here in output, we have user language and total engagement. So total engagement is nothing but the total of the engagement column in user activity. So for US, it was 2.09, for UK, it was 1, and for India, it was 7. So now, this output can be done by normal SQL query as well, correct? So why procedure? Why to use procedure? Because tomorrow, we can have more users under user table and more activities under user activity table. So both table keeps on updating. Maybe for US, there can be more engagement values. If we write a SQL query will run for the current table. So when table gets updated, we have to manually update our SQL query. So instead of that, we can give our SQL query inside a procedure and procedure keeps on updating on daily basis when the user and user activity tables get updated. So now let's go to dbfiddle and execute our code. So I have already created the table for user and user activity. So this is the table for user and for user activity. First, let's have a look at user and user activity table. So I'll write my code to open user and user activity table. Initially, I'll write select star from user and run my code. Yes, we have user table. Under user table, we have user ID, user language, user country, and user city. Now let's check with user activity table. Select star from user activity. So here in user activity table, we have again user ID, query ID, user query, pages showed, page clicked, and engagement. So we want engagement from user activity table and user language from user table. First, let's understand how we can achieve the result without using the concept of SQL procedure in dbfiddle. Now let's not use any SQL procedures. We'll write a simple SQL query to get the total engagement for user language. So initially I will select user language. Initially I'll select user language. Then I want total engagement. So in order to get the total engagement, I will use the keyword sum of engagement column and give a name as total engagement. So from where will I select this? From user table as, keep it as U, and I have to join user activity table because engagement is in user activity table. So what I'll do, join user activity as, I'll give a name as UA for user activity. So once I join, I'll give on U dot user ID is equal to UA dot user ID. And now I have to group by with the user language. So I'll group by user language. Let me run the code and check if it's working. Yes, we have a user table here. We have our user activity table here, and we have our query table. That is the number, also the total number of engagement for user language. For US, it was 2.09, and for UK, it was 1, and for IN, it was 7. Next, we will envelop the same code with stored procedure. So in order to write it in stored procedure, we have few steps that has to be followed. So initially, we have to use a keyword delimiter in order to start writing with the procedure. So we use a keyword delimiter and write to AND symbol. Then in order to create this procedure, use the keyword create procedure. Okay. Now give the name for our procedure. So name for our procedure, I'll give total engagement by language. So this will be the name for our procedure. In order to begin with the procedure, we have to start with the keyword begin. And inside the begin, we will give same previous code, same previous SQL query. That is, now in order to end this procedure, I will use the keyword end and to AND symbol. Next, I will end it with the keyword delimiter again, where I have started with the delimiter. I'll end it with the delimiter with the space and a semicolon. So every time you create a procedure, you have to call a procedure. Say I have created successfully. Now I will call my procedure. Call with the procedure name. The total engagement by language was my procedure name with a semicolon. Let's run the code. Yes. So let's see the output. We have got the same output as the previous SQL query. So for query 5, we have US 2.09, UK 1 and IN 7. The query is same, but what is the advantage? Advantage is like previous. If you update your user and user activity table, previous query will not get updated. Previous answers will not get updated. But here in this procedure, if you update user and user activity table, the answers or the query will get updated. So I hope the procedure in SQL is clear. Now let's summarize. A SQL procedure or stored procedure is a set of statements that can be saved and reused by just calling its name. Let's check with the stored procedure syntax. So as I told you, we have to start with the keyword delimiter, space and to AND symbol. Then in order to create a procedure, start with create keyword, then procedure keyword, and then give any name of your choice. So in order to begin with the procedure, begin with the SQL query. So you have to give begin keyword. Inside begin, you will give your preferred SQL query and end it with the keyword end and to AND symbol again. And finally, end it with the keyword delimiter with the space and semicolon. In order to call the procedure, we have to use the keyword call and give procedure name. So this concludes the procedure in SQL. In next lesson, we will learn about procedures in SQL with in parameter.